Welcome everybody. In this video I'm going to show you how I built this mini shed here, a mini shelter for a generator inverter. The generator is the WEN 6800. Reason why I got that one is because it has a 240 volt out, and I really wanted to put a 240 volt out into my solar inverter. Let's get to it. So I'm going to show you all of the process from start to finish here. So I'm starting with the bottom, as we usually do on buildings, right? Basically building it like I built the larger shed, with three runners at the bottom to make the floor. Here I'm just measuring the 2x4s. These 2x4s are all pressure treated. So I'm just spacing them out on the floor here, kind of getting a feel for it. I took a few measurements of the inverter. I kind of had a rough idea of how much space it was going to be required, but a lot of it I'm just kind of measuring and seeing as I go. So for the walls, on one side of the wall, I'm going to be using 2 vents. I believe they're 24 inches by 14 inches. You'll see them a little later on. Here I'm just ripping some 2x4s to finish off that bottom. So these are like the spacers for the runners. A lot of the time drilling first and then screwing it in, just so that try to avoid the splitting of the wood. The middle one, I had to do an angle to do kind of a toe screw in there from back and forth, but I think it's strong enough. Now that I have the bottom set up, I have a platform to work with. So here's one of the sides, one of the vents. Again, I think that's a 24 by 14. And I have 2 of them on one side. So here I'm just getting the height of it so I can cut the next pieces. I'm going to be ripping a lot of these boards. I'm not using full 2x4s because I want it to be as light as possible in case I need to move it, and I didn't want to be dragging a whole lot of wood. So wherever I can save some weight ripping those 4x4s, obviously the bottom I wanted it to be a little bit chunky. Here I'm just mocking up here the vents. on the other side it's only going to be one vent. Making the cross brace, and I think here I will rip that. Yep. So I'll use that piece for the front and for the back, I believe. Outside siding, it's a 4x8 sheet, so it's a full sheet. So here I'm cutting out for the floor. I decided to add more blocking to the floor here. I don't think it was enough, just to make it feel a little sturdier. So I took a few more pieces. Now those screws, they were a little too long. I didn't have any shorter ones on hand, so I was okay with that, because then I just took the angle grinder and took off those tips. Not a big deal. So here I am again mocking up the vents. They kept falling off because they were just in place, but I'll be screwing those in soon. So here I think I am cutting the side wall. Yep, this is the side wall. So it's 3 vents and 1 side wall. So it should have plenty of ventilation. I did the back also. I don't think I'm showing here the back panel, but it's, you know, it's like the side. And here I'm working on the door. Now I'm moving on to the roof. So I'm using these 1x6s, and I'm basically just gonna rip those at an angle so it creates a little bit of a pitch. So it goes all the way from the 6-inch all the way. I think I go down to 1 inch, maybe 1.5 at the back. I think it's 1 inch. And this is the front of it. I put this is a 1x4. So it doesn't reach all the way at the top, but it's okay because, again, that's going to be extra ventilation. So here I'm cutting out for the top of the roof. And then this will also get metal roofing on top. Yeah, just screw those in right into the 1x6s. Here I'm cutting a hole for the power cord to come through. I'll be putting a box. And now I'm giving it some paint because I think that was pretty much like all of the cutting. And I'm using this gray, so I just mixed a little bit of black into some white paint that I had and made my gray. And then I'll be doing white trimming. I'm not showing how I cut out the trimming, but it's basically I ripped the 1x4s and so the finished painting I screwed in the vents, and now I'm screwing in the hinges here for the top. I also added these chains, but they're not necessary. And here I am installing the trim. So again, these pieces were made from 1x4s. I ripped them and painted, and the door too. You saw me making the panel, so then I just took some trim and trimmed out that door. And here's that metal roof. And I put a little hardware cloth at the top here just to keep critters out. Creates another little air gap. Here I'm drilling some pocket screws onto a couple of pieces here to put at the back, because I'm cutting out the back because I want the exhaust to go out through there, and I needed something to screw onto because I'll be using some hardy board to put the exhaust out through. So I use my oscillating tool here to cut that part out. And here's that hardy board I'm slicing through, and you just pop it up, one more slice on the other side, and it comes right out. We'll be drilling and then screwing through this hardy board onto those pieces that I put in before. Here's a fan. This is a 90-watt fan, 12 volt, which is going to go into the cigarette socket, because when you're running 240 it doesn't run the 120, but 12 volt it does run. Here I'm drilling a 1-inch hole for the exhaust. Here's the exhaust pipe. It's going to go into the back of the generator. And here I'm just flaring this out a little bit because I removed the spark arrestor from the generator and I'm putting it at this end. Okay, now I'm just gonna be testing it out. So filling it up with some gas. Start it up. Plug in the cigarette plug and there it goes, 12 volts, 90 watts. And that's what the capability of that outlet is. That this is pretty much the build here, testing it out with the inverter. So I've already wired the shed for this 240 volt. In the winter, if you get snow, then you know the solar slows down the production. So I needed a backup here. This goes directly into that breaker, into the inverter here, and it powers it up, and you can adjust how many amps you want to come in, 20, 30, 40, 50 from the generator. Obviously you don't want to be running it at max. But yeah, so this is the build. Not too bad. It took me a couple of days.